Good morning. Welcome to subramani.com. Please click on the bell icon and subscribe to the videos. I hope you're enjoying watching this. What is the role that an advisor plays in your portfolio or in your wealth journey, right? So, I have not seen many people, or I've not seen anybody with a portfolio more than $1 million, which is about say 7-8 crores, who has done this alone without any help from any advisor. And I'm talking of somebody who has created it, not somebody who has inherited it. Somebody who's inherited may have inherited even a bigger portfolio and then pretended that he does not need an advisor. In fact, I've seen people who have inherited a big portfolio and completely ruined it by inaction or poor action and dramatically underperformed the Sensex, which means they could have just taken the money and put it in the Sensex and got better results. I've seen this happen with portfolios where the father who was maintaining has died and given it to the son, and the portfolios neglect over last 10-12 years and completely lying in tatters and ruin. These things happen. So what is the role of an advisor? The role of an advisor is something very simple. He has to sit with you and explain to you what your goals are and explain to you why inaction over long periods of time is important to create wealth. So if you have invested in 2016 and you have sat with your advisor and given to him in writing that you will look at it only in 2026, which means it's a promise to yourself through your advisor that you will not panic when things like COVID happen, right? Or if you were so smart and panicked, you panicked first, right? You panicked in the month of January, saying I'm hearing some problems and I don't know what will be the impact, so I will sell. That's fine, but you panicked early. Panicking halfway through the journey doesn't help, because you do not know which part of the journey you are. Will we solve this problem in 3 months or will we solve this problem in 3 years? We do not know. If the answer is 3 years, then you're still in the early part of the journey. So maybe it's not a bad time, but your advisor has to sit with you and find out whether you're on the right path and create the journey for you, and those are the things that he has to do. You have to have complete trust in him and in the process of creating the wealth, and very good trust, very good communication between the two of you. And you also have to feel that he is knowledgeable, and he has to feel it is worth spending the time with you. If your portfolio is too small, maybe he will not spend enough time, so maybe you've gone to the wrong advisor. So check out a portfolio advisor, or check out an investment advisor, or an MFD as they are now called, whether this is the kind of size in which he is interested, which means you have to have your philosophy statement, he has to have his philosophy statement, and if the fund also has a philosophy statement, great. When the three are in tandem, good amount of wealth will be created over long periods of time. But you have to have all this in place. So people who have never managed other people's money and can come and tell you, look, I did it, and you don't know how he did it. Like, I have a doctor who keeps talking about his great fund management skills in the equity market, which is not true. His brother is a broker and his brother is doing it. It's a family business. Last 30-40 years they have been into it actively. They are members of a stock exchange. He is the exception of becoming a doctor and coming out, and now he tells everybody, look, my portfolio is so well managed. It is not managed by him, it is managed by his brother. But then it looks sexy for him to go and talk about it. But the truth is, he's got an advisor who is his brother. So when you have your brother as your advisor, you don't feel you have an advisor, but the truth is he has it, right? So what all do these people look for? One, most of these people know that their advisor makes money through them, what percentage, how much he makes. There is enough clarity on that. They know what are the tax implications. They sit with the chartered accountant and they say what can be long term, what can be short term. That is decided by them in tandem. It's not suddenly waking up and saying, I need to worry about tax this year, we can't book profits, or we have to book profits, or those kind. It never comes as a surprise. Every quarter the IFA takes a printout and gives them the capital gains made or whatever, so that the CA can plan the advance tax. So coordination between the investor, the chartered accountant and the advisor, I have seen this happening. So complete trust and confidence, the willingness to give away the power to execute to the IFA. So some of these IFAs are authorized to invest up to a crore and a half without even seeking their help, seeking their concurrence for that, right? So if it's an equity share to be bought, they would just go and buy it and then say, boss, I bought this for you, right? That kind of executing capacity is which comes only from a good advisor. Like I said, trust communication, and the fact that he will not go against me, the fact that he gets compensated, I know how he's compensated. There are times when the children of the house have to route something to the karta of the house through the advisor. Only when the advisor says will the karta listen. So that kind of a hold they have on each other, that they will listen to each other and they will not listen to even their own children. They are very clear that in a family, when a big decision is being thought of, like buying another business or things like that, the financial advisor plays a role, right? So when you have this kind of a relationship which is happening, and then the question of compensation and all, they know that there is compensation. They know that, in fact, I know one financial advisor to whom all the children in the family are sent for 3-4 months training, right? So these kids understand how to read the media, how to understand the media, what to watch, what is not to watch, what questions to ask. So the media goes through this guy. Rather, everything in the media, these people just call up and say, is this news right? What do we have to do? Do we have to react, right? So he's like a safety check or a validity check for all the news items which they see, right? So this kind of a relationship, it sounds a little sophisticated and a little expensive for the advisor, but yes, he's compensated. When the portfolio is 182 crores and you get 1%, there are times when they negotiate and say, look, this is getting too big, can we just reduce the remuneration a little bit? So these kind of things also happen. So remuneration is a very small part of it. The ability to sit with them in the same level and talk, if your advisor can do all that, believe me, he's worth the compensation that he is getting or that he is seeking. But you have a complete right to know why you should be paying money for being in a debt fund or being in an index fund. If you think those could go direct, you should sit and talk with him and talk about the total compensation rather than the per piece compensation. Thank you.